Hey, what's up, everybody? James Rule, XRP. I'll tell you what, I'm so excited about this interview today. Dirk and I go back a few years. We're all part of this community, and I've interviewed him a couple of times. And, so many things are happening in the world of crypto and blockchain, the metaverse, meme tokens, all the above. I'm just so excited. I have Dirk here with Xpectar. Dirk, so glad to have you here. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And I have to thank you again. You have been with us from the very early days, and you have been a firm believer and supporter all the time. So I'm really grateful for that.
My pleasure, man. So, for people that don't know, kind of give me a brief background of yourself and, tell me how how you conjured up Xpectar, man. It's just such an incredible ecosystem.
Yeah, it grew organically. Initially, actually, we intended to bring real life business ideas into several metaverses. But when we kicked off, we had some Unreal developers on board, and we looked into multiple other platforms, and none of them were on the XRP ledger. And most of them were actually very nice ideological white papers or good ideas or not so good ideas. However, none of them actually got built. We have seen that lots of projects got huge funding, especially metaverse related, after or during the past bull run. And then if we look at the ones that actually executed, very few. We have Decentraland and Sandbox, of course, that are pretty successful. We have Yoga Labs that has been working on other sides for a couple of years with M Squared and Improbable Powerhouse. However, they still don't have a consistent 3D virtual world up and running. So we started out almost 3 years ago on the XRP ledger. We had massive community support, and still we have been consistently delivering and building. So that's something that I'm very proud of. During the bear market, it has been a very, very tough time. We have been able to build nonstop with a huge team, by the way, and that shows. My idea was actually, let's be ready for when market sentiment changes. And that took a high toll because it took a lot of time and effort and money to actually be able to do that. I've been pretty critical about the ecosystem and Ripple sometimes, as you know. Some diehard XRP holders still don't like me for that. But I really want to make sure that everybody knows that all the criticism was definitely meant to be constructive, and that, I've said it over the past couple of days multiple times. You don't necessarily have to like me to be interested in what we are building. And we have been building, and we have been supporting the ecosystem, other projects as much as possible. We are running infrastructure. We are on the UNL with our validator. So I think that shows that we are here, and we are here to stay, and we are here to do whatever we can to support everybody within the ecosystem.
I think it's incredible. So you're running an XRP validator node, correct?
Yeah, we started running. We spun it up actually a couple of months after we launched, and I think that we were the first to get that we were the fastest validator that got on the UNL. It was a very short period between spinning up and actually getting on that list, and yeah, we're still on there. We're still responsibly voting and making sure that new amendments get voted in.
Man, it's incredible. I mean, and when you look at the metaverse, you look at retail, you look at just conjuring up these ideas of it's pretty much endless what you can create in the metaverse. And I have purchased several plots in Tokyo. I wasn't able to get into New York or on the beach or whatever, but I'm just so excited that I have a part of this ecosystem and I will be able to build on top of it. Wow. I mean, there's just so many things going on. What's the latest news? What's happened here recently with Xpectar?
Yeah, so I'll go back until last summer. Last summer, we tried to give value back to our early supporters and our holders. So, we have distributed 88 Crown Council NFTs, still one of the most expensive NFT collections on the XRPL. very exclusive, only 88. So they were distributed to our Genesis holders, the biggest holders. During the summer, we have given every Genesis holder land plots for free as well. Back then, the dollar value was approximately $1 million that we gave back to the community. And in the meantime, we have kept on working, of course. We have released an avatar collection, also a free mint for existing holders. We have enabled the land minting, so people that hold land and that purchased in pre-sale, they can actually go to xspectar.com and mint those parcels or plots as NFTs. In the future, people will be able to burn those NFTs as well and to reassemble. So if you buy adjacent plots, you will be able to combine them into one bigger parcel, and also the other way around. I think it's a pretty interesting metric, or a pretty interesting feature, because bigger plots will be probably very hard to get. So if you are interested, check out the big marketplaces, XRP Cafe and Bits, for example, and check out if you can find some land NFTs with a big parcel of land. Marina City has been live for quite a while. New York region will be live, and I'm always careful with dates, but the first half of April for sure. Also a big anticipation on that. There is something very interesting. If you look at the holders of Marina City, the number of holders, I won't say any exact numbers, but the number of individual landowners in New York is 10 times bigger. So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that evolves. We also launched our building NFT collection for people that own land and don't have the skills necessarily to build something themselves, or commission somebody to do a custom build. 2,222 also sold out. And the total amount of land plots when they are minted will be somewhere around 25,000. If you know that there are only 2,222 prefabricated buildings ready and on the market, well, I think that could change, or that could become an interesting dynamic on the secondary markets as well. Placement of the buildings will be done initially manually by our team in the next few weeks as well. Marina City will be populated with those buildings. And then, of course, as we set New York region live. In the meantime, and I don't know if you have seen it, but we have a partnership with BWT Alpine, Formula One team, and a legendary car brand. We have NFTs that are actual Alpine cars, the Alpenglow, a prototype of a hypercar. We will release a smaller model in the very near future as well, probably even in the next week or so. And people are able to actually use those NFTs in the metaverse as drivable cars, and the buildings are, so every asset within our virtual world, a land plot, a building, a car, an avatar, is represented as an NFT. And I always refer to Yatsiu, the CEO or the president from Animoca Brands, and his vision on Web3 and decentralized networks. Everybody becomes a stakeholder. So everybody that holds an asset actually has benefit to create and add value to that network. And they also benefit from the value that others create. And that's a very interesting concept. So I think that utility is crucial. Lots of people speak about utility. Well, our NFTs actually represent in-game assets. And the big difference between Web3 and Web2, of course, is that you own those assets, that you can sell them, trade them. And that's not a closed environment. Pretty important, because lots of people, gamers, spend thousands and thousands of dollars on in-game assets. And you don't own them, and that's why one of the reasons why we integrate, of course, blockchain technology and the XRP ledger, to make sure that people own their own assets.
And that's big, because NFTs are now more than just a picture of a monkey. I mean, there's actual merchandise, real estate, all kind of things attached to, real world assets are attached to NFTs now. And fractional shares of real estate. Once you build, say, a bank or a hotel or something within the Xpectar verse, are you going to be able to buy fractional shares of, say, a certain building, or do you pretty much have to own the building outright? I mean, the
It's
sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, theoretically everything is possible. It's an ongoing process. Of course, we constantly make improvements. One of the very important features is that we have launched our Access Builders Academy, and that's actually to onboard 3D developers, builders, even community members that are interested in starting to build themselves. And we have had some people with zero prior knowledge of Unreal that created very cool stuff. And it's not only offering them the possibility to create stuff, but they are also able to monetize that, to create 3D assets as an NFT collection, to create whatever they want and sell it to people that are interested in getting them. A couple of examples: we have Neosenic in there. We have AJ with AJ Studios, an architecture studio from South Africa that built the Access Tower. People are able to purchase private environments in there. So yeah, lots of things going on simultaneously. Also very proud to say that, for example, Yuga Labs on the other side, they launched their EDK, their ODK, sorry, which is the other side development kit, pretty similar to our EDK at Xpectar, the environment development kit. And we were actually 6 months before them to launch that and to be able to attract builders. They started out somewhere in August with 3 independent test builders. By now, we have about 200 people onboarded, and you have to think about how it will evolve. Imagine 200 independent people that we don't have to pay, but they are using our platform to create excitement, to create assets. They will build stuff, they will draw their own audiences, create their own communities. Once that kicks off, that will be pretty interesting. And it's like having 200 developers, but they aren't on our pay list, So that's cool, and that's something that we will focus on in the future as well, to onboard more builders. And what's the incentive? Well, they can showcase their work and they are able to sell it and make money. And we've seen that with AJ, with the Access Tower, that they have done that very successfully. One of the things that we will look into in the future is that we will have that more automated on our own website. There will be verified builders that create stuff that we assure the public when they purchase something that they are actually usable in game. And so one of the next steps is that we will work on our native marketplace and facilitate all transactions within the metaverse. We've been focusing mostly on getting in-game assets as NFTs out and creating the virtual environments until now. So yeah, it's still a lot of work, but I've looked into a couple of competitors that also build metaverses or something similar that use Unreal Engine. Some of those got 50, 60 million investment. And one of the projects that I thought was actually pretty interesting, or that they at least looked very sleek. Well, I asked our development teams to take a deep dive in it and tell them what they did better, what they did different, to check them out, And answer I got from the lead developer after looking into it was, they have ... literally ... nothing. Strangely enough, so yeah, so they have one room where you can. So yeah, I'm again, regardless what you think of me and my character, if you look into what we have been able to build on the XRP ledger, I think we have something that has multiple opportunities. One is excite the community. Another is attract builders and offer them a way to make money. I think it's also a very good platform to bring all XRPL projects in and unite. We want all of those communities in there. We can offer token gated clubhouses, something that is very interesting for NFT projects, instant utility for your NFTs. And yeah, I think it's something to be proud of. And I'm very, again, proud of the teams because it's definitely not me building it. I'm just coming up with some ideas and trying to get everybody paid in time, which is not that easy, by the way. But yeah, so we have done something that I think the ecosystem in general can and should be proud of. And if you look into any other similar project on any chain, I think we're definitely outperforming most of those teams. And again, I can't say it enough. Big thank you to, amongst others, Bob Way, that was chief product for a while, and that actually laid the foundation and of the ID, the server architecture, the setup, very valuable. And some other very nice people that have worked with me, that are still with me. We downsized the teams a little bit to make sure that we can keep going because it's pretty capital intensive, you know, and we still don't have major VC investment. This is something that we're focusing on now. We have had very, very good conversations with the guys from Futureverse, Aaron McDonald, Readyverse, big Metaverse foundational platform as well. That has Ripple as one of their big investors. And yeah, we've been talking a lot over the past few days, and I think that some things will come out of that, and that it will surprise people in a positive way. On the other hand, we have always said that we would never leave the XRPL, but that we are looking into an omni-chain or a multi-chain strategy. So in the back end, we have already multiple blockchains integrated. I've been very friendly. You've probably seen my PFP lately. I have a mutant ape from the Bored Apes. Well, I know you say it's just ape pics, but it's getting access to a network as well. And I've met very, very cool people. ApeCoin is also a sponsor of BWT Alpine, the Formula One team, and we are their official Metaverse partner. So there are some synergies. ApeChain got launched a few months ago. It's an Arbitrum Orbit chain. Also super fast transactions, very cheap, EVM. So yeah, also integrating ApeChain. We have created a profile on X, which is called XPECTAR, and we're still trying to figure out how we are going to make everything work, you know. And it's you know, there is no master plan where you know everything in advance. It's every day reevaluating, rethinking, coming up with new things, new technologies, integrating, and so on. But one of my ideas was, well, let's create one big virtual world with multiple chains integrated, and every nation in that world ties into a specific chain, and then we get something pretty similar to the real world, but every nation is tied to a specific blockchain. And I think it's an interesting experiment as well, because we all know that there's a lot of competition and tribalism between chains. Well, it would be interesting to leverage those that tribalism and that competition to actually drive innovation and technology, and to see communities strive to do better than the other one. And that will probably reflect, then we will see a reflection of ledger activity in the nations or in the virtual world. So yeah, lots of ideas, lots of plans. We are focusing on the core things now, because, you know, it's just a lot of work, and we took on a lot. And I've realized after 3 years almost nonstop being involved in this, you look at me and you see a different DS than you did a couple of years ago. You know, I've learned a lot of lessons as well regarding the ecosystem, regarding everything. And I think it's now is the time, with everything going on, crypto regulations changing in the US, the SEC case, let's hope that ends well. And I am pretty positive on that end, especially if you look at which lawsuits that the SEC already has dropped. XRP Ripple is a little bit more particular, but I am convinced that that things will change for the better. And again, regardless personal feelings towards some people or whatever, I think it's really time to unite as an ecosystem, to embrace each other, to forgive each other for the mistakes that we might have made, to shake hands, and to not look only at each other, which the community mostly does, but I think that we all should reach out to potential new clients, potential new people from other chains. And we have seen with First Ledger, the success of First Ledger and the meme craze on the XRPL, that we are able to bring in people from other networks. And I think that that's where the people have to go. The low-hanging fruit is not onboarding non-crypto people to crypto or to the XRPL. The easiest thing is to convince people that are already into crypto to come and take a look at what we're doing on the XRP ledger.
Absolutely. And there's so many new people coming into the world of blockchain and crypto. I always say I'm a crypto teacher. I always get the kindergartners. I'll always teach the kindergartners. People are just wanting to know more. They're like a sponge. They're wanting, okay, I haven't seen this. This is brand new to me. How do I do this? So how would somebody experience the Xpectaverse? I understand it's on Windows computers. How easy is it to get in and walk around and check out the Xpectaverse?
Well, we're using Unreal Engine 5, which allows us to have pretty high level graphics. We have different settings. So, you need a decent machine. At this stage, it's also only available on Windows. But if you go to xpectar.com/beta, you can download the browser. You can actually connect your wallet, Zaman wallet, of course, to the backend, and then you can get into the virtual world. There are some restrictions if you don't need to hold any NFTs, by the way, but some of the NFTs, for example, the avatars, they open doors to other worlds and other experiences. I would definitely recommend everybody to take a look at it. If you are hesitant about the potential of Metaverse and how it's going to be, there is a very interesting 75-page document. It's a PDF that you can download on the McKinsey website. It's called Value Creation in the Metaverse. I will send you the link. You might want to post it for your followers as well. It's lots of people don't seem to get it, so lots of people think, oh, it's just a game, or oh, it's just this. It's actually, we approach it as the internet in 3D. And my son was my biggest inspiration. He will turn 11 in 1 month and a week. And he lives in Fortnite, Roblox, all those games, So we started thinking about how will the future user of the internet interact with the internet? How will it evolve? And Bob looked back to the early 90s and Tim Berners-Lee and how the internet was architecture. So to me, the metaverse is the internet in 3D. It's social, it's immersive. People meet each other there. Also, very important. Why did Zuckerberg invest billions and billions in Metaverse and change his company name to Meta? Well, he knows that social platforms like Facebook are dying. So the internet in 3D will be a place where you meet up with friends, you go to places, and instead of going to a website, you walk through a doorway. The doorway acts as a hyperlink. You go from one server to another with your friends, and you go into the James Rule experience instead of going to your website. And you can be there on stage and have meetups with your community or interview people. You can stream it. If you are early with this, imagine you being the first one on YouTube,
Hey.
Pretty competitive advantage. So again, I can't predict the future. I can only promise that we will do everything we can to make all our community members and the XRPL ecosystem in general proud. And I think we have a pretty decent track record, despite some mistakes, despite some stupidities, despite some hurdles. But again, somebody told me yesterday, you never lose. Either you win or you learn. I've learned a lot.
Absolutely. I've learned a lot too. And yeah, I've made some mistakes. I've dove into things that didn't work out, but that's what it's all about. If you don't try it out, if you don't take that step or take that path less traveled, who else is going to do it? I mean, you're setting an example for millions, if not billions, of people around the world that are going to be able to experience this 3D internet. And I was just thinking, how easy is it going to be for somebody that has like a business that sells clothing, that sells, merchandise to actually get on board and get their merchandise out there?
Well, we're actually working on, so there are multiple ways, of course. Either we have, for example, West Coastal Coffee. They have a building within our world. There are multiple options. Either they sell virtual coffee that gives your avatar superpowers. That's a possibility as well. Or a combination of physical goods and virtual goods. Or you go into the coffee shop. That's something that we're working on now, for example. People can walk into the Coastal Coffee Shop and they will be able to directly, by scanning a QR code or whatever, go to their website, their web shop. And if people go through the XPectarverse, they actually get a discount, for example. So that's a way of funneling people into more traditional ways of e-commerce. We have ATM. We created meme coin, or we created it. It was a little bit of a joke between me and Daniel from Casino Coin, but all the money.
All the money.
Interesting narrative on the XRP ledger, So we have ATM building inside our world, and people are able to go in and walk to an ATM machine and purchase directly ATM tokens, for example. So now we're trying to get these things up and running and actually set examples so people know what is possible. And I think that that we're now getting to a point where we have more than crypto bros speculating on land value. We actually see builders build. I can't spill all the secrets, and it takes way more time than I want as well. But there are some really amazing teams building really amazing things in the background, and some of them built in public like we do, and they show their progress, but some of them are very secretive of what they're doing, and I know of a few of them. There is a team that is actually has a lot of background in business and real estate and whatever, entertainment. They have been consistently buying up plots in the New York City region around Central Park, and they plan to do some really cool stuff there. And that's exciting. It's exciting to see people build, because if you have a metaverse with all landowners that just wait until the price goes up, well, the price will go up way faster by creating excitement and activity. So the more people we are able to get in there, the more chances, the higher chances of success will be. Some other stuff, for example, that is pretty important is that we will be working on getting Xpectar on the Xpectarverse on Steam, for example, which will bring lots of eyes from non-crypto people. So that will be a way to onboard people to the XRP ledger as well. So there are so many things in the pipeline. It's so difficult because we have been doing everything at the same time all the time, which is definitely exhausting. Now we took a little step back to take a breath and to prioritize stuff and to finish stuff that was ongoing and so on. It was needed as well, because going full throttle all of the time, it's very bad for your health. It's very exhausting, and we lost some team members as well that were valuable assets that couldn't take the pressure, and that I'm pretty hard to deal with as well. Yeah, well, I know that, and that's probably one of the reasons. Sometimes your biggest strengths are also your biggest weaknesses, and I know that I scare people away sometimes. But I also know that the people who stay and who can deal with that are overperforming, are outperforming everybody else because of that. So yeah, it's not for everybody, but again, very curious to see what will be happening over the next few weeks and months. And I can assure you, all those xSPECTAR, I never talk about price. I don't even know what the price of the xSPECTAR token is, to be honest. I only know that if we were on an EVM or a big EVM chain, that the market cap would be probably 100 times higher. So if you look into the xSPECTAR NFTs, token, whatever, I think there is a huge opportunity. And again, I can't predict the future, but if XRP price would go up, and if we see a massive influx from people outside of the ecosystem, well, I'm pretty sure that anybody looking into projects building on the XRP ledger, that they will eventually end up in some form with xSPECTAR. And that could get interesting, because then we already see, by the way, that secondary market trading really picks up. And I think that's also under the influence of people from Solana that flew in through meme coins. And then they say, oh, well, there are NFT projects on the XRP ledger as well. And we have to keep in mind that if we get new people in from EVM chains, you know, lots of XRP holders are cultists. You know, I always said XRP is the best example of a cult. Nobody's selling; they're accumulating. They don't even use their XRP to spend on projects building on the XRP ledger. However, if we get those new people in from other chains that are used to spending a lot of their ETH on NFTs, or, you know, the Bored Apes is a perfect example. Well, when those new people flow in that have more of a culture of NFTs and becoming part of those communities, well, then it can get really interesting. And then you get some multiplication effects, I presume, in comparison to XRP, that could reinforce things. Yeah, I'm hopeful, but I'm hopeful for 3 years. I see things go up, go down. I hear about new developments. Sometimes they come when they are announced. Sometimes they don't come. You know, you've been in this community for longer than me. You know how hard it is. And before we start this conversation, I told you I hope you finally made a good deal of money, or you increased your personal wealth or value. And I'm very glad that XRP holders got to this point already. I think they deserve it. I am happy for them. They have gone through a lot. But again, now it's time, unite and reach out to people from outside the ecosystem. Try to bring them in instead of looking at each other all of the time. Actually, I shouldn't be in this conversation with you. I should be in the same conversation with a guy that is doing YouTube stuff on ETH or on Solana or whatever. But it's pretty tricky to get to those people. But I think that, again, everything depends on the bigger picture, market sentiment, and then, of course, XRP movement. Those two things are things that nobody can influence directly, or not too much at least. And that will definitely be key factors. And if you think that XRP will go way higher, well, then you have to think about all the side effects and the influx, the people that are used to NFTs, that are into project. It could be extremely explosive. Let's hope it is. We have about, if all our land that has been sold gets minted, because people have the option to mint themselves on our website, and you take all our other collections in account, the Genesis one, the avatars, the buildings, the DS collection, the Crown Council, we have multiple collections. On the XRP ledger, royalties are baked into the ledger. So there is no marketplace that can decide, like on EVM chains, we either pay those royalties out or not. Well, any NFT from xSPECTAR gets us 8% with every sale. Imagine having 45,000 NFTs with utility in a potentially very good project with a solid foundation. Imagine when trading kicks off, you know? Then we have such a solid revenue base that we can build whatever we want without any external investment. And it's all out there. You know, if you go to the xSPECTAR page on X, you see that the first pin post is actually a 4-minute explainer of what we're doing, pretty good one. And Chris Dangerfield, also pretty well-known developer on the XRPL, he actually quoted it, and he said, "Well, this is probably the best explanation of xSPECTAR I've seen." And you know what? It's not an ID, it's not a white paper, it's not a cinematic or a video. It's the screen recording of something that is actually there. You can go inside the world, you can use it, you can trade, you can do whatever. So yeah, I think I've babbled enough. But yeah, I'm super excited still.
You know, I'm super excited for you, and hats off to you for sticking it out for hell. When did you start? 2022?
Yeah, 2022. You know, I became very active in the community in 2021. I became a big supporter and of multiple NFT projects in at the end of the year or fall 21, and then we started xSPECTAR almost a year ago. It's like I think in April 2022. Yeah.
Wow. And you know, there's rumor going around that April the 16th is the key date. Is the key date for the lawsuit to end. And I tell you what, you know, people are going to freak out. People that have been in this space for 4 or 5 years are already going, wow, things are looking great. But wait until, you know, they flip the switch and all of these different ecosystems are interoperable. And that's what you're talking about, bringing other ecosystems to the Xpectarverse. And that's what it's all about. In the tribalism, you know, I'm diversified in many different digital assets. I'm not an XRP maxi. Everybody thinks I am because it's in my name, but it is one of my top holdings, not financial advice. But Dirk, man, I mean, imagine an Amazon coming into the Xpectarverse. Imagine major banks. Imagine Walmart coming into Xpectarverse, where you can go into a virtual store, buy your merchandise, have it delivered locally. Amazon, order your packages, check it out in the. I mean, the options are endless, man. And my hat's off to you for getting it out there.
And one important thing, James, I presume you're not a gamer. I'm not a gamer either. However, every time I'm in that virtual world, I'm having fun. And again, some people that are reluctant to get into it, you should try it. You should meet up with people. You should go to the Alpine racetrack and drive Alpine cars against each other. We even have a 3D chess game where you can play chess with your friends in the metaverse. Yeah, it's engaging. It's fun, and I think it's probably one of the strongest marketing tools in the future.
That's what it's all about, man. And like I said, my hat's off to you. All the links are going to be right below right there. So click on it, check it out, give it a test spin. Dirk, I know your time's valuable, man. It's the weekend, and I appreciate you coming on and letting me interview you, man. I can't wait to meet you in person. I know you've been to different events. I've been to different events, and one of these days we're going to get to meet up in person, brother.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, man. But man, let's get together here in a few months and see where xSPECTAR has gone. And man, the sky's the limit, brother.
Yep, I think so.
All right, guys. My name is James Rule, XRP. Be sure to check out all the links below. And don't forget, I told you so.